I have got a fun little project for us today. This is a hitch or a drawbar or a tongue or whatever you want to call it off of a hayrack. It's a wagon that a farmer fills with hay and pulls behind a tractor. This one has been modified. I think that's the polite way to put it. And that modification has failed. It has been fixed. I think that's the polite way to put it. And that fix has also failed. That is a real work of art. The backstory here, the reason for the modification, these old hay racks were all designed for the small square bales, which nobody uses anymore. So they modify them to haul the big round bales. And if they stretch the tongue out like this, they can haul an extra bale behind the tractor. So a typical setup in our area is 2 bales on the tractor, 1 on the loader on the front, 1 on the hitch on the back, and then they hook up the hay rack, which will have anywhere between 6 and 12 round bales. Just depends how many they can get on there without them falling off on the ground. And a lot of times they haul 2 hay racks. So let's say 8 bales on each rack, 2 on the tractor, that'd be 18 total bales. That setup would be roughly 65 feet long, probably weighs somewhere between 40 and 50,000 pounds. And they pull it right down the road with no straps and no brakes and typically no lights. I love farmers, I really do. But just remember, the next time you pass a tractor on the road, their idea of safety may not necessarily align with your idea of safety. Somehow we've got to fit a square peg into a round hole. And to make it more challenging, they want to keep the angle. I guess that's a feature, not a fault. The reason it failed in the first place, well, one of the reasons it failed, is the bale on the back of the tractor. If you get in the wrong situation, it pushes down on the middle of the tongue. So if they have the bend, then they have clearance, and they don't have to worry about that. The problem is that opens up a whole other can of worms. This tongue was designed only for tension and compression. If we put a bend in it, now it has to withstand a bending load, which, it was never designed to do. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I might give them a little bit of a bend. I don't think we can leave it as severe as it is now. It's just, there's no way to make a good, solid connection that way. Anyway, let's cut this thing apart, and we'll kind of make it up as we go along. Okay, let's try that again. Alright, this is getting a little frustrating. It's so twisted, nothing lines up. That's better, much better. Turns out this video about welding is mostly about welding, and that's kind of a problem. I find welding to be mildly boring to do, but extremely boring to watch. especially through a camera lens from a distance. So I wanted to try to get some of those sweet, tight arc shots, but my Gen 1 camera setup just didn't work out. Which is kind of hard to believe because I used 2 pieces of tape. Still wouldn't hold. So I came up with a new design. We're going to print that out and see if it improves the video experience. I did fix my MIG welder, but for whatever reason, this just felt like a stick welding job. I'm using 1/8 inch, about 3mm 7018, running about 130 amps DC on my old ESAB transformer welder. It's a fantastic DC stick welder. It's a way better welder than I am. It's probably a little bit hot for this application. It's wanting to undercut just a bit, but I think I'd rather be too hot than too cold. I'm not much of a stick welder, as you guys will point out in the comments. I find the hardest part is trying to maintain the right arc length. I'm not doing a very good job here. So I'm okay at the bottom, but then I'm trying to pull the bead up onto the vertical, and it's making my arc length too long. That's why it keeps getting brighter and darker. You really want that flux coating to be right down on top of the bead, basically touching. Probably would have been better in this case just to run a stringer and not try to do my fancy circular motion. I think it worked out fine in the end, but there's always something to learn about welding. I've tried to teach people welding in the past, and I find that people who have rhythm, especially if they have some training in music, usually can learn to weld pretty quickly. All you really need is consistency and some amount of spatial awareness, because really what you're seeing here is all I can see while I'm welding. Tell you what, it almost looks like there's a crack right there. I don't think it's actually a crack though, it's just where the weld overlaps. I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments about it. You guys are always seeing the cracks. Might be a little too hot still. I think we're done. Pretty simple job, really. I mean, it's never going to look good. This is always going to be a lipstick on a pig situation. But I think it'll work, at least for a while. It probably will eventually break again. Like I said, this hitch was never designed to have this kind of a load. But it's certainly better and safer than when it came in. So I'm going to send it home. Thanks for watching. Hi, Max. What are we up to? Yeah? I guess there must be a mouse in there, huh? Okay. Well, carry on.